Dobar dan, dobrodošli u novu epizodu našeg Vimbldonskog druženja. Kao što već vidite na ekranu, obećao sam gosta iznenađenja i evo ga. U pitanju je Dani Valverdu. Verujem da mnogima od vas ne treba posebno da ga predstavljam, ali red je pa ipak hoću. To je čovek koji trenutno radi sa Stanom Vavrinkom. Ima iza sebe veoma bogatu karijeru, tokom koje je kao trener sarađivao sa Endijem Marijem, sa kojim je osim sa njim radio i sa nekim velikim trenerskim imenima, pošto je istovremeno bio trener Mariju kada je Ivan Lendl. Pravio je velike uspehe sa Tomašom Berdihom, sa njim dogurao do 4. mesta na svetu, a čini mi se da ono gde smo ga možda najviše zapamtili jeste saradnja sa Grigorom Dimitrovom, kojeg je naprosto preporodio i te 2017. Kada su radili, Grigor je bio treći na svetu, osvojio svoj prvi Masters, osvojio ATP završni turnir, igrao ono nestvarno polufinale Australian Opena sa Nadalom i sećam se da sam baš tad razgovarao sa Danijem o tome kako je preporodio Dimitrova. Dakle, jedan čovjek sa velikim znanjem i velikim iskustvom, iako je mlad, Dani ima samo 35 godina i on je danas tu, javlja nam se sa švajcarskih planina da nam pomogne da najavimo finale između Đokovića i Beretinija. So, Dani, I introduced you nicely, don't worry. I know you didn't understand a thing, but don't worry, you're fine.
At least I can pick up the bad words, as there's a lot of Serbians in the locker room, so I understand a few. So I know that you didn't say any bad words.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for joining us. And as I told you, we're just previewing the finals now. Everybody's talking about Đoković, Beretini. So just for starters, let's just take a general recap of tournament for them so far. If you could just talk about Novak first and then Mateo.
So I think Novak is obviously in the right path. He had a fantastic clay court season. Obviously, having a good clay court season, it sets you up perfectly for the grass. It builds your baseline game. And then Novak, obviously, in the last few years, his serve has become a major weapon as well. And we don't obviously need to talk about the return because we know what he can do on that end. So I think he's had the perfect path in a way, coming from the clay courts, winning the French Open, which for his confidence, it doesn't get any better than that. And he's had a good build-up as the tournament has been going on. I thought yesterday in the semifinals, he didn't play his best, but he did enough, which he has now I would say the privilege on his side that even when he doesn't do enough, that's still good to win a slam semifinal. So I think maybe the last match wasn't his best, but I believe that his game is in the right place, and obviously his confidence is as good as it can be. So I think he's in a perfect position for the final, and I will be surprised if we see an upset tomorrow.
How do you explain him winning that match 3-0 yesterday? I mean,
it's obviously confidence does wonders in a way, but you have to look at the confidence that he's built. But at the same time, you need to look at what he can do on the tennis court. His average level is better than everyone's best level, so that's something that he has on his side, and he's proven that over the whole stretch of his career. Even when he just plays average, he still makes you play that extra ball. Maybe he's not being as aggressive as he can be, but he makes the court very small for the opponent. And he's, I mean, everybody knows how smart he is on the court, and even if he's not playing his best, when it comes to his own game, tactically he's still doing the right things. So maybe it doesn't look like he's hitting winners or playing very smooth from the baseline, but at the same time, tactically he's always playing the right way. So that's something that he has as a weapon. Not only obviously his strokes and his game, but mentally he understands how to play the match. He's probably one of the best match players I've ever seen since I've been around. So I think that was one of those matches yesterday where he wasn't playing his best, but he knew exactly how to play each point to give himself the best chance to win it.
Could we just dive a bit deeper into the two things you said? First, Novak being tactically sound. What are his traits that make him so tactically good? And you said that he makes the court smaller. Could you give me an example from yesterday's match?
Making the court smaller for me, he does it with his movement. Obviously, his movement, it's one of his biggest weapons. You feel like you cannot get him off balance, or you cannot hit through the court. And then at the same time, he makes it very small, because even though you're making him move, the depth of his ball is usually very good. So even though you feel like you maybe have him on the ropes, moving him side to side, all of a sudden you get two very deep balls where you feel that you need to take a lot of risk if you want to end the point. And then at the same time, you can add how tactically sound he is. Even though he's on the move, and you feel like you're in control of the point, he knows where to hit the next shot, so you cannot hurt him to end the point. So he manages to extend the rally not only with his movement, but also with the depth of ball that he has, and also by knowing where your weaknesses are, so you cannot hit a winner from that position.
You've coached against Novak, obviously, with different players. But if you could pinpoint one or two advices that you gave to your players when playing him, what would those be?
Say a few prayers before you step on the court, and make sure he's not having a good day. I mean, it's difficult to say. I guess it depends on the tournament and on the surface. But to be honest, what happens with Novak most of the time is that it really depends on him. If he's having an average day or a good day, it's very difficult. If he's having a bad day, I think there are areas that you can exploit on the court. Maybe I would rather not talk about that right now. But obviously, I think if you make him feel that he's always the one running, and he's not dictating the point, and he's not the one changing direction, which I think that's probably his number one strength. He's probably the best at the game at changing directions in the rally. So if you can be the first one changing directions in the rally, and controlling, I would say, the tempo of the point, you stand a better chance to make him feel uncomfortable. When he's able to keep his legs on the baseline, and he's the one dictating when to go cross or when to go down the line, he's flawless. I mean, he hits the ball literally to a target every time, and it's very difficult to get him away from the baseline. So one simple advice that I would give is to try, which is not easy because how good the depth of his ball is, but to try early in the rally to be the one changing directions, and not let him do that, because once he starts doing that early in the rally, he gets a hold of the baseline, and it's almost impossible to get him out of it.
Let's talk a bit about Mateo. He's having a terrific season so far as well. He's won Queens. Now he's in the finals of Wimbledon, and I must say, not a lot of people predicted it, expected him to be in the finals, and he somehow lived up to the hype, and he routinely made it to the finals. That's my impression, at least.
Yeah, I think again that's another player that has been building the right way. Had quite a good clay court season, but not only this year. I've been very impressed with Mateo's progress, not only at the tournaments, but from watching him practicing in Monte Carlo. We've been around and practicing together for a long time now, and you can see that he's extremely driven. He has a very good team around him. They're always looking to improve. Every practice, they're very thorough and very detailed about what they're doing on the tennis court, and you can see that he understands how big his potential can be. Then this year, like I said, I think he had a good clay court season. Obviously, winning at Queens, it's a massive help for the confidence on the grass. And like you said, he routinely went through the tournament. I had a couple tough matches, but in the tough moments, he was able to play his best tennis. So I think it's a tricky opponent. Obviously, it's a really big serve, really big forehand. But again, I think it's not the best matchup for Mateo, because what Novak can do is counter his best weapons. So Mateo is going to have to play probably one of the best matches of his career to deserve an upset tomorrow, just because if you look at Mateo's strengths, which are his forehand from the baseline and his serve, those are Novak's two strengths. So his return of serve, he can counter that quite well, and also from the baseline, even if Mateo is hitting big with the forehand, Novak will be able to not only extend the rallies, but get to Mateo's backhand and then get in charge of the rally afterwards. So I think it's a difficult challenge, but I think Mateo is ready to give a good performance. I don't expect an easy match for Novak. and I also don't expect an upset. But I think Mateo will give a very good performance tomorrow because he has the right level.
How important will the slice be for both those guys? We know that, I mean, Novak has to play it deep and low in order not to allow Mateo to hit it with his forehand from the backhand side, and on the other side, Mateo needs to do that as well, not to let Novak dictate with the next shot.
Yeah, I think the slice for Mateo is going to be crucial tomorrow. He needs to be able to slow down the rally when he needs to, especially when Novak is in charge. And we saw in the 2019 final the effect that the slice had from Roger. I think that drove Novak a little bit crazy on that day and put Roger in a winning position. So I think Mateo can learn from that and try and utilize the slice as much as he can tomorrow. That's going to get him to be neutral in the rally in many situations. So I think he should stay away from hitting too many backhands. Unless if he has time, it's okay to hit it. But otherwise, I would advise him to hit at least 60 or 70% slices from the backhand side.
What I've noticed, especially on this cross-court season, is that on his second serve, Beretini likes to go big in the body serve. And I think that's something Shapovalov did yesterday in the third set especially, and Novak stepped back half a step or step. Did you notice that? And did you notice any other similar tactical, let's say, nuggets?
I think that's the biggest issue with Novak, that you're always trying to find solutions during the match, but he will realize pretty quickly what you're trying to do. Obviously, with the lefty serve from Shapovalov, the body serve is very effective. But Novak realized that he was getting jammed, so he went back, and then he was able to have enough time to start the rally on Shapovalov's backhand side, and then he was able to get back to neutral quite quickly. But I think with Mateo tomorrow, I agree. I think he tries to go into the body quite a lot. He will try and do it tomorrow because he needs to make sure that Novak doesn't get that good first hit of the second serve. But if he's going too big, then Novak will try and find space like he did yesterday.
You've gotten to know Mateo pretty well. What do you think his reaction is going to be playing his first Grand Slam final? He's been pretty fearless so far, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Obviously, the nerves. You can never even coach a player to understand how it's going to feel when he steps on the court. Especially the first Grand Slam final being at Wimbledon, probably the biggest stage in tennis. It's going to be interesting to see how he matches up with Novak tomorrow. Not only with tennis, but also mentally and with the nerves. I was very impressed with Tsitsipas with his first Grand Slam final at the French Open. I actually was thinking that maybe his level was not going to be as good as it was because of the nerves, but he surprised me. So maybe Mateo will surprise me again tomorrow.
So you expect to be a bit of nerves after all?
Definitely. I mean, not a bit, a lot of nerves tomorrow. I think the beginning of the match always will make a big difference for the nerves, depending in which direction it goes. So if Mateo can make sure that he gets 3-4 holes at the beginning of the match, that will make a big difference. If he gets broken early in the match, obviously the nerves will go away probably in middle of the second set or end of the second set. But he needs to make sure that he has 2 or 3 at least good holes at the beginning of the match to get rid of those nerves.
You've had that experience as a coach. I know personalities are different, but how does a Grand Slam final day look like? Do you try to keep it as normal as possible, or is there like a special aura around it?
There is this special feeling around it that you cannot get away. Everybody's nervous. The player is nervous. The coach is anxious. The fitness trainer is anxious. So it's difficult to get away from it. You, in a way, have to embrace it and not try and hide it too much. To realize, look, obviously it's a Grand Slam final. You try and treat it as any other day, but it's not any other day. It's a day that the player has worked and dreamed of for his whole life. So it's obviously going to feel a little bit different. I think it's important to accept it and to say, look, we're feeling a bit nervous today. What can we do to loosen up? Let's play some card games. Let's laugh a little bit. Let's watch some funny videos. Let's try and loosen up a little bit. And then close to the match, obviously, get the focus back into the match and the tactics for the match. So I think it's important to to accept the nerves and not to hide them, because at the end of the day, the nerves are going to come out in the match anyway. And you arrive to the courts 3-4 hours before the match, and trying to hide the nerves for those many hours, it's only going to make you more nervous. So if you can try and find some ways to release them before the match, that's probably helpful.
Okay, we've mentioned some stuff already, Novak, with the returning, extending the rallies. We mentioned slice, but what other tactical keys do you see for both those guys in order to have a better chance at winning?
Mateo is going to have to play big tennis. He's going to have to try and, especially from the back of the court, like I said, changing direction early, especially when Novak plays to his backhand side, to get out of that corner pretty quickly. And I think he should play fearless tennis. He should play big on the serve and big on the forehand, take his chances on second serve returns, even if he's missing some, that's okay. So I think from my advice to Mateo would be, go out there and play fearless. Worst case, you end the match and you're a Wimbledon finalist for the first time. And best case, you win and you're a Wimbledon champion. But you should not leave that court with any regrets and not playing to Novak's strengths. You should play to your strengths, and that's going to be the best chance to win the match.
And from Novak's side, obviously we mentioned return, but his return wasn't working pretty well for the first couple of sets yesterday. So what would be, let's say, Novak's B plan in case Mateo gets a hold of his service games and starts to put more pressure on Novak's service games?
Well, I am pretty sure that Novak's return will be on point tomorrow. I'm sure he spent enough time watching video now and practicing the return today. But let's say if by some miracle his return is not working tomorrow, he will find ways to make the return. He will probably go to the chip return on first serve to try and make sure that he's getting in the rally. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of that tomorrow. If Mateo is going big on the first serve and he's getting too many free points, Novak might start blocking some returns to make sure that he gets in the rally. So he will find solutions. I think from Novak's side, obviously the return is his strength, so he will make sure that, and the strength in Novak's return is the amount of returns that he puts in play. So he will find a way to do that. And then from the baseline, he will be probably pretty resilient, looking for Mateo's backhand. He usually does that. First, he plays the backhand quite a lot for you to think that he's going to be playing there, and then he starts playing the forehand to open up the backhand. So he will be very smart tomorrow. And again, he's been in that situation now so many times, and in finals he's usually the sharpest I've ever seen a player be. So and I think now his even his tiebreak records is something incredible in the Grand Slams or in the big matches, just because of how good of a big match player he is. So I'm expecting Novak to give a very top performance tomorrow.
And finally, you said you don't expect an upset, but your prediction would be 4 sets, 5 sets, 3 sets. I know you guys hate these kind of questions, but it's a good way to summarize.
I hate these questions, but I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna say Novak in 3 sets, and 2 of them being close sets.
That's pretty specific, Dani. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Dani, thank you for joining us. I'm sure that my viewers are going to enjoy this, and we made a deal to talk about some other stuff later this month or later this year, and I'm really looking forward to it, and thank you.
Me too. Take care, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.